My name is Eleanor Johnson, and I'm 68 years old this year. Frank, my husband of 45 years, passed away to heaven 3 years ago. Now I live quietly in a small town, but my heart aches when I think about my family. My son James is 38 and works for a local construction company. His wife Sarah is 35 and works as a librarian at the town library. And my treasure, my granddaughter Sophia, is 6 years old. She's like a blonde angel, the spitting image of my late Frank. James and Sarah's marriage seems to be on the rocks lately. It might be due to financial problems or stress from James's work. If Frank were here, he could have given our son some sound advice. But now, I believe they're trying their best for Sophia's sake. At least, that's what I wanted to believe. On Thursday night, I was knitting while watching TV as usual. The sound of rain was hitting the windows, with lightning occasionally slicing through the sky. The weather forecast said it would rain heavily tonight. Oh my, the morning glories will be in a sorry state tomorrow, I muttered to myself as I changed the channel to the news. Suddenly, I heard a knock at the front door. Looking at the clock, it was past 9:30 p.m. Who could it be at this hour? I wondered. I grabbed a flashlight and cautiously approached the door. Another knock, this time sounding weaker. Who is it? I called out as I opened the door, and my breath caught in my throat. Standing before me was Sophia. Her rain-soaked blonde hair was plastered to her face, her pajamas were covered in mud. And blood. I could see several small cuts on her arms and face. Grandma. Sophia's voice was trembling. Sophia. What happened? I hurriedly pulled my granddaughter close and brought her inside. Sophia couldn't stop shaking, and she could barely speak. I quickly fetched a bath towel and wrapped it around her body. It's all right, you're safe now. Grandma's here with you, I said gently while stroking her hair. Daddy. Daddy. Sophia sobbed, struggling to get the words out. Take your time, sweetie. Take a deep breath, I encouraged her. After waiting for Sophia to calm down a bit, I gently asked, what happened? Why did you come alone in the middle of the night like this? Sophia, with tears welling up in her big eyes, hesitantly began to speak. Daddy got angry, he hit me. The moment I heard those words, something inside me froze. James, hitting his own daughter. Unable to believe it, I was about to ask for more details when Sophia collapsed in my arms as if all her strength had left her. Sophia. Sophia. I quickly picked her up and laid her on the sofa. Thankfully, she seemed to still be conscious. It's okay, you're safe now, I reassured her while considering my next move. First, I needed to contact Sarah. It took a while to calm Sophia down. While giving her some warm cocoa, I spoke to her gently. Sophia, it's all right. Grandma's here with you. When you're ready, can you tell me what happened? Sophia, clutching the mug with trembling hands, began to speak in a small voice. Daddy was scary. Daddy was scary. Why? I asked. Daddy yelled loudly, and then Sophia's words caught in her throat. And then I prompted gently. He pushed me. I hit the wall. Sophia's eyes filled with tears again. My heart felt like it was being squeezed. Sophia, you did well to tell me. You're such a brave girl, I said. As I asked for more details, I learned that James had come home drunk and started getting angry at Sophia over something trivial. If Sarah had been there, she might have been able to stop him, but I found out she had been in the hospital for a few days. What about Mommy? Why wasn't Mommy at home? I asked. Mommy is in the hospital. Sophia's voice became even smaller. I quickly picked up the phone and dialed Sarah's cell phone. After several rings, there was finally an answer. Hello, Sarah. Is that you, Sarah? I asked urgently. Mother-in-law, what's wrong? It's so late. Sarah's weak voice came through the phone. I'm sorry, Sarah. But it's urgent. It's about Sophia. Sophia? What happened? Sarah's voice became panicked. I took a deep breath and explained the situation. Sarah's scream-like voice echoed through the phone. No. James, but because I wasn't there. Sarah's voice changed to crying. Sarah, why are you in the hospital? I asked. I fell down the stairs 2 days ago and broke my leg. As I listened to Sarah's explanation, anger welled up inside me. I understand. Sarah, your recovery is important right now. I'll take care of Sophia, I assured her. After hanging up, I sat back down next to Sophia. Sophia, you'll sleep at Grandma's house tonight. We'll go see a doctor tomorrow. Sophia nodded slightly. As I hugged my granddaughter, I was desperately trying to figure out what to do next. The next morning, I took Sophia to a pediatrician. Fortunately, there were no serious injuries, but the doctor said there was suspicion of abuse and that he would contact Child Protective Services. When we returned home after the examination, there was a message from James on the answering machine. In a drunken-sounding voice, he was asking, "Have you seen Sophia?" I sighed deeply and called James. James, Sophia is here with me, I said firmly. Huh? Why is she there? James's voice sounded confused. Do you remember what happened last night? I asked sternly. After a moment of silence, James started making excuses. I was a bit drunk, but it wasn't anything serious. Not serious. My voice became harsh. Sophia is terrified. James fell silent. Then, with a sigh, he said, Mom, actually, there's a lot going on. He gradually began to talk. Stress at work, financial problems, and the presence of a new woman. As I listened to my son's words, anger and sadness welled up inside me. James, you've been having an affair? I asked, my voice tight with emotion. I'm sorry, Mom, his voice became small. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. What would Frank have done if he were here? James, come here right now. We need to talk, I said firmly. After hanging up the phone, I sat down on the sofa. How did my once adorable little boy end up like this? My heart ached as I thought about Sarah and Sophia, and James's future. A while later, the doorbell rang. It was James. When I opened the door, he stood there with his eyes cast down. Come in, I said in a cold voice. Sitting James down in the living room, I began to speak quietly but with a firm attitude. James, do you understand that what you've done is unforgivable? He answered in a faint voice, still looking down. I know, but at that time. I don't want to hear excuses, I cut him off harshly. You hurt your own daughter. Blaming it on alcohol doesn't make it any more excusable. James raised his face and looked at me with tearful eyes. Mom, I really regret it. But at that time, with the stress from work and the debts. Debts? I raised my voice in surprise. What do you mean? James reluctantly opened up. He had become addicted to gambling and had accumulated a large debt. And to hide this debt, he had been borrowing money from his mistress. I was at a loss for words. Anger and sadness welled up inside me. Mom, I want to start over. I want to apologize to Sophia and Sarah. But I don't know how. I stood up and walked over to the window. As I gazed at the scenery outside, I imagined Frank's face. What would he do? I took a deep breath and turned to face James. James, you've made a terrible mistake. But you're my son. And you're Sophia's father. That's why I can't give up on you easily. A glimmer of hope appeared in James's eyes. But, I continued with a stern expression, starting over requires a corresponding level of determination. First, you need to receive treatment for alcohol addiction. And counseling for gambling addiction too. We also need to make a plan to repay your debts. I understand. I'll do anything, James nodded desperately. And most importantly, I looked him straight in the eye, you need to make amends to Sophia and Sarah. It will take a long time to regain their trust. Are you prepared for that? James answered with a serious expression. I am. No matter how long it takes, I'll win my family back. I let out a small sigh of relief. I'm not sure if this is true repentance or just temporary remorse. But I have no choice but to believe in my son and guide him. All right. The real trial starts now. I'll support you as much as I can. But as I said, Sophia and I will be living here for a while. Until I can confirm that you've really changed. James looked sad but nodded in understanding. I understand. Mom, thank you. I promise I'll regain everyone's trust. After he left, I let out a deep sigh. I sincerely hoped this would be the first step towards family reconciliation. A few days after the conversation with James, an unexpected development occurred. The police contacted me with news that James had been arrested. It was revealed that he had been involved in illegal fundraising to cover his debts. When I heard this news, my heart was filled with complex emotions. My son's actions were unforgivable, but as a mother, I couldn't help but worry about his future. On the day Sarah was discharged from the hospital, we had a discussion at her house. Sarah, though using crutches, had an expression that conveyed a strong will. "Mother-in-law, thank you so much." Sarah grasped my hand tightly. "For Sophia, and for me." I smiled gently. "Of course, Sarah. You're my precious family." Just then, the doorbell rang. When I opened it, my daughter Linda was standing there. "Mom, I heard what happened." I came right away. Linda hugged me. Linda's presence cast a new light on this difficult situation. As a legal expert, she became a great help in supporting the family. "Sarah, Sophia, I'll do whatever I can to help," Linda said with determination. We discussed our plans moving forward. James's trial, Sophia's psychological care, and Sarah's return to work. Linda would provide legal advice, while I would offer daily support. "Mom, I'll come regularly too. I'll help look after Sophia and assist Sarah." Linda's words made me feel stronger. That night, as we were putting Sophia to bed, Sarah said in a small voice, "Mother-in-law, I don't know how to feel about James." I put my hand on Sarah's shoulder. "Time can solve some things. For now, let's focus on Sophia and yourself." Sarah nodded, tears in her eyes. At that moment, I felt anew the strength of family bonds. Even in difficult situations, I was filled with gratitude that we had relationships where we could support each other. A year has passed since then. James is serving his sentence in prison, but he's seriously working on treatment programs for alcohol and gambling addiction. His letters express remorse and thoughts of his family. Sarah has returned to work, and Sophia is enjoying school life. Thanks to psychological counseling, Sophia's smile is gradually returning. Linda and I have been taking turns staying at Sarah's house, helping with housework and childcare. This experience has deepened our family bonds even further. One evening, while we were having a barbecue in the backyard, Sophia suddenly hugged me and said, "Grandma, thank you." "What's this about, Sophia?" Surprised but pleased, I hugged my granddaughter back gently. "Because you're here, Mommy and I are happy," she said. Sophia's innocent smile made my eyes well up with tears. Sarah approached and said, "I can never thank you enough." Linda added, "Mom, you're our pride." At that moment, I felt a new mission. A role as someone who protects and guides the family. Frank may be gone, but there's still so much I can do. "Everyone, listen," I said to my family. "We'll face more challenges ahead. But I believe we can overcome them together." The whole family nodded, enveloped in a warm atmosphere. That night, I wrote in my diary, "Dear Frank, our family is now on a new journey. I can feel you watching over us from heaven. I'll continue to do what I can for our family." Looking out the window, I saw a sky full of stars. Surely, Frank must be smiling among them. Tomorrow, another hope-filled day will begin. I took a deep breath and drifted off to sleep with a peaceful mind.